Hey there everybody, this is 22 Tiger Dude here, and I'm here to review Army of One. So Army of One is directed by Larry Charles, the same director of all the movies that starred Sacha Baron Cohen, Borat, Bruno, and The Dictator. The film stars Nicolas Cage, Russell Brand, Wendi McLendon-Covey, Will Sasso, and Rainn Wilson. So Army of One is actually based on a true story of this man named Gary Faulkner. He has a kidney disease, and this story happened in 2010 when Gary apparently got a mission from God to go to Pakistan and capture Osama bin Laden. And Gary Faulkner, he took this very seriously. He was very passionate to go get Osama bin Laden, capture him, and bring him to America. So Army of One, I'm not gonna lie, it looked really bizarre when I watched the trailer. But the fact that this is actually a true story, like this man actually went out of his way to go to Pakistan, to go to capture Osama bin Laden, it's truly crazy knowing the fact that that's real. And so Army of One, I have to say, I'm gonna be honest, I know it's not getting good reviews, and while I personally do understand why it's not getting good reviews, I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed Army of One. I thought this was a very funny movie. A lot of the humor actually did make me laugh because of how bizarre it is and how weird it is. Like seriously, there's some moments in this film where I'm like, what the hell am I watching? Because, oh my goodness, this movie goes all over the place, and I know that's the kind of style they're trying to go for, but you're kind of questioning what you're watching at times because of some of the stuff that does happen in this film. And Nicolas Cage, who is pretty much the king of craziness, I think he is the right fit to play such a crazy character, because Gary Faulkner, for what I hear in real life, was actually a very extreme person. Some of the stuff he did, it would be something a normal person wouldn't do. Based on what I heard, of course. But Nicolas Cage portrayed that bizarre, extreme, but very passionate man very well. You could tell Nicolas Cage was very committed to this role. He truly embodied Gary Faulkner. He is what makes this movie so funny. And also, I did think that the movie was well directed by Larry Charles. I thought Larry Charles honestly did a really good job directing the film. Most of the shots I thought looked really good, and I actually did think the script was very well written as well. I think for a crazy story like this, what they did with the script I thought was actually handled so well, in my opinion. And then there's some other talented actors here, like Russell Brand. He plays God because, you know, as I just said, God apparently gave Gary Faulkner a mission to go to Pakistan. So there's scenes here and there where you see Russell Brand basically talking to Gary Faulkner, because Gary Faulkner, he's just hearing all this stuff. Everyone looks at Gary Faulkner as this crazy person because, you know, he would just hear God. I gotta say, Russell Brand was actually funny. There were some things that he said I thought were really funny. I thought Wendi McLendon-Covey, she plays Gary Faulkner's love interest. She is someone that Gary Faulkner had a crush on back in high school. It's the same thing with her with Gary. They reunited, and I actually really liked how she served the story, including Lizzie. I actually thought that was a very nice way to add some heart into the story of the film. Specifically when you get to, I'm going to say, the last act. I was surprised by the amount of heart the last act actually had. And I thought that was a nice touch, because a lot of the movie is comedy after comedy after comedy after comedy, really. But once you get to that last act, the last like 15 minutes, it does have some heart to it that I actually really like. I actually did really like the score in Army of One. I thought the score actually did fit the overall atmosphere of this film, especially when Gary Faulkner is in Pakistan. And then, of course, where the film does lead to to its climax, I did find to honestly be very interesting, and I did think that it was nice that we got to see some of the real life footages of Gary Faulkner in the end credits. I thought that was honestly really nice right there. Now personally, the only problems I did have with this film is that, yeah, sometimes the humor doesn't always work. A lot of the comedy definitely did hit for me, but there's some of the comedy where I'm all like, whatever, that didn't really work for me. Also, this movie has some camera angles that did look quite off, if I have to be honest. I thought some of the camera angles could have looked better, and even the editing at times I thought it was kind of choppy, because the movie just has this very weird style, and it kind of goes all over the place of where Gary Faulkner is going in Pakistan, or even going back to America at one point. So the movie does some of these cuts that were a little weird, and it kind of did feel a little bit choppy the way it would cut to certain scenes at times. There's also one dream sequence I thought was very out of place, and I didn't really think it was needed. Without really saying anything, I'm just going to say it involves a dream sequence where Gary Faulkner's watching TV, and that's all I'm going to say. There's also this subplot dealing with this Pakistan government, one of those two people being played by Rainn Wilson. Remember him as Dwight from The Office? Well, yes, he's in this film. I didn't really think they went anywhere with that whole Pakistan government subplot, and also it came out of nowhere. They were only there just for one specific thing, and that was it. There wasn't really much to that subplot, so I didn't really see the point of that subplot really being there, because I didn't really feel like it served anything besides maybe one thing. And the last problem I did have with Army of One is that this movie takes way too long to actually end. This movie had a hard time of actually knowing when to end, because there's one moment where I thought it was going to end, but then there's another moment going on. I'm all like, okay, it's going to end from here. But then no, there's another extra moment where I'm like, okay, can this movie just end already, because it was taking a long time. But overall, you guys, I actually really enjoyed Army of One. This movie is not for everybody, and I can understand those that are gonna hate this movie, those that are gonna feel mixed towards this movie. Trust me, people, I don't blame you, especially since I have heard that Pakistan is portrayed inaccurately in this film. Yeah, you do kind of question sometimes the film you're watching, but at the end of the day, I honestly had a really good time with Army of One. I think it's a solid comedy. I'm personally going to give Army of One 3 out of 4 stars. So you guys, if you did happen to see Army of One, let me know in the comments down below what you think of this film. This is 22 Tiger Dude here, and don't forget that I will always have Tiger Power!